So we're live on show number 86 for this week's Flippinar. We have Renikia back in the house.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Adria is in the background hiding. She's getting farther away from the screen every week. Not sure why.
I was like, I don't even see Adrian. What's going on?
So with no further ado, boom, take it away.
Okay, welcome guys. It's Ty Stated show number 86. Today is January 24, 2019. We're 24 days into 2019. What have you done different? The whole I'm start this new year or tomorrow or the next day. What are you doing, people? But at least you're here with us today. We're here every Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And as Ty mentioned, we do have the lovely Miss Renikia back with us. She is always accessible across all social media platforms. She's going to tell you how to get in contact with her if need be. Make sure you subscribe, link, bring a friend, join us across Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever need be. And we will take a moment a little bit later to make sure you understand how to get notifications when we're getting ready to come on or whenever new content is made available to you on YouTube. Renikia.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. Thank you for such an amazing opportunity to be a part of the Flippinar. I am Renikia Williams, the founder and CEO of Fortune Key Financials, and we specialize in helping you build generational wealth. I love this clip that Ty puts up. One of my mottos is POUR is the acronym of passed over opportunities repeatedly. It's not a financial state. It's not recognizing those level up opportunities that is presented on your path. So with no further thing to say, I'm ready to get started.
All right, guys, the way this works is you post your questions, I read the questions, and Ty and or Renikia will answer your questions. I haven't said it in a while, but sometimes it makes it a little bit easier if you make sure you list all the details, so we don't have to guess on what you're talking about or what's the ARV or what's the offering price. And also make sure you tell me your location so we can cater the answer more direct to you. So again, without further ado, we will start with Instagram. I see you people there. We have Gory Lamore, which is Greg Kelly, been grinding harder. What is what I'm doing different? Oh, that's what you're doing different for 2019. I hear you there. As I mentioned last week, binge on the videos, grind on whether it's driving for dollars, finding leads, utilizing your resources, and then stack your dollars. That's how it works. Binge, grind, stack. I'm going to YouTube. It is not up for me.
Let me do this first. For whatever reason, people have trouble subscribing to the channel and getting the notifications. So I'm gonna do this a couple of times. I actually I pull up a search here. This guy here, he has a pretty good channel. He explains it pretty well, but I'm gonna just show you. Obviously, you're going to hit subscribe, the red button. A lot of you will be doing this on your phone, but it's pretty similar. So you look for the red button. You're not finished whenever you hit subscribe. You have to hit the bell, the notifications bell. You're not finished then. In order to get notifications on whenever we go live and when I upload new videos, you have to hit all and then save. If you're on your phone, once you hit subscribe and then the notification, you may have to hit options and then select all and then save. So I'll go through this a couple of times as we proceed on. So.
All right, guys, that was a tidbit on how to get your notifications. True Lee on Facebook, yo. I think I said them all. Okay, let's see. Glenn Taylor said what he did different for 2019 was get Dilulator. Yes. Way to go. We'll mention that a little bit later. That's what's up. Hiawatha has a question. If you have a seller sign a contract and take it to the title company, but they back out at closing, how do you go about that?
a seller?
Yes.
Well, it's gonna happen. It hadn't happened to me that often, but it's gonna happen if you deal with enough people. Well, you number one, the first thing you want to try to find out, why are they backing out? And hopefully there's a remedy there. Hopefully it's just as simple as a little bit more money. You have money to share with them. But if you can't resolve it, you can, if you think they're trying to be underhanded and want to sell to someone else because they're getting a much higher price than you're willing to pay, you can go record a memorandum of contract to cloud the title, because most title companies, I can't say all, they're gonna want that answered, on why you had a contract with this individual and you didn't allow them to perform by closing on it. And that's a cloud on the title. It has to be answered. The title company wouldn't want to put, not all, but most won't want to put a title insurance on that property if there's a cloud there of any sort. They want it clean. They don't want anything to come back on them, because they really don't want to have to pay out that title insurance. What you've ever experienced that, Renikia?
I would have said the same thing. That happens. The seller, the buyer, everyone has the right to back out of the contract. Now, you putting those parameters in place. If they do back out, you've been able to either like Todd said, you're able to record that contract on the title or at the courthouse, or you go after the earnest money or something of that nature. But that happens. And you have to put your parameters in place in the contract for those situations.
All right. Mr. Robert Spry, I see you. It's his first time. Everybody tell him welcome. You're taking the first step into changing your life. Yes, I made it sound dramatic. I said his whole life. You can do some things in this wholesaling market that can change your life. I couldn't think of anything else to say. Okay, Trip J wants to know, what target market should I focus on? I did what the flip man said last week about being open, so I focused on absentee owners.
When he says market, does he mean a niche of particular type of sellers?
Doesn't specify. So answer it how you see fit.
Yeah. Or are you asking about the market, the city, the zip code stuff?
Yeah, last week I showed them, was that last week? I showed them a simple thing that they can just go to Zillow and first you go to Google and look up the zip codes for a particular city, which that can be a lot of them depending on the size of the city. And you can just go in there and just start putting in zip codes and change some of the criteria in Zillow to show you're only targeting properties that have recently sold. And then you put in there a time frame that they sold in, like the last 6 months, and it'll pull up those properties that have sold in that 6 months. And so you just build a chart. It may be 200 in one zip code, 50 in one, 150, 175, and you can see where the hot zip codes are. So that's a great way. And if you're familiar with your market, then you can choose from there on where you want to actually start targeting or spending your marketing dollars. Now you want to still be open. A deal is a deal, doesn't matter. But if you're just trying to start and you want to say, hey, where's the most activity, and break it down from there, that's one way. Renikia may have a different way of going about it.
No, I would have said the same thing. You want to focus in, especially when you're first starting off, you really want to put yourself in a win-win area, win-win situation. Not, I get a lot of new investors and they come up with these new ideas and they try to reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's opportunities right there. So at the end of the day, you have to find the areas where there's the most activity, where there's more investors and more buyers for those areas. And that to me is one of those win-win areas. You want to find that win-win areas that I got a lot of buyers for my property, and also there's sellers who want to sell their properties. So focusing on those areas and your method of finding those areas, it would be a combination of multiple methods. If you're targeting absentee owners, if you putting up your signs, if you driving for dollars, it's really doing multiple marketing strategies to make that work.
All right. Shout out to Crystal, who has the most wonderful baby bounce back that I've seen. She's an admin on our Facebook group. And she says it's 2019. Everyone, if you don't have Dealulator, you better get it like now. Yes. So, and she just closed the deal last week for 12 big ones, 12,000, y'all. It's most definitely possible. Utilizing her resources. If you notice there, I see somebody said they like Ty's shirt. Get gated with Dealulator.
Oh, it's old in here.
Yes, throwback. Yeah, but still, they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Dealulator.com, which is AKA PropStream, but visit Dealulator.com. Subscribe to that service. There is a 5-day free trial period that is available to you. It will step your wholesaling game up. It is a tool. It does not work if you just subscribe to it and don't ever log back into it. You have to use it to your advantage. Make it work for you. And with that being said, someone had a question about the Dealulator, Ty. He wants to know, have you gotten any deals from it? And is the data just as good as ListSource?
Yes, and yes, plus. See, ListSource is only just list, whereas the Dealulator PropStream, people say, why you use Dealulator as PropStream? But number one, I'm a reseller of PropStream, but I'm going to brand my own name on it, because stuff changes. You know what I'm saying? They may go out of business and I'm gonna have to do something different. So whatever. Anyway, so with ListSource, it's just list. Whereas with Dealulator, you can actually build list, but you can be more direct and list for cash buyers, tax liens, high equity properties, pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, auctions. Now, the information is only going to be as accurate and current as how the county produces it to the public. On top of that, you can do other things like skip tracing names and phone numbers. You can import your own list to build a CRM system to track sellers, buyers, or just your transactions in general. But just go to Dealulator.com. I have several videos there that tell you everything you need to know. You want to watch those videos before you take on the 5-day free trial. It's free. So watch the video, educate yourself. Don't dive into the 5-day free trial and then watch the videos. Watch the videos and say, so you get in there, you know what you're doing and you can use it or whatever. Hopefully you'll go beyond the 5 days. I would strongly recommend it. Again, it's just a tool, just like this information, Renikia and myself, Adrian, we're just a tool, but just like if you go to Home Depot and buy a paintbrush, it's not going to paint a wall by itself. It's just, you got to put the work in.
Right.
Would you cut that off?
I like that.
Oh, that's my bad. Okay, so let's see here. Real Recrill, whatever, on Instagram says, hey, I'm thinking of using Fiverr for a VA to assist me with cold calling. Any thoughts?
With cold calling, the one thing I would say about that, I think you actually need to do it a little yourself so you can work out the kinks, so you can train someone to do it properly. Unless you just already know how, you got to do it yourself a little, in my opinion, in order to be able to train someone to do it the way you want it done. Now, you may be able to do it out there, but it's just me. You're going to have to get your feet wet on it just to work out some of the kinks and stuff, because just understand a VA is not going to care like you care, because you're paying them on an hourly wage or however you're paying them or whatever. So, but, I'm always going to side on doing something versus nothing.
All right there. Hey, Charles Jenkins and Mr. Rainbow Records. You're trying this for the first time. Don't cross your fingers. Just get out there and do it. This has nothing to do with hope. This has everything to do with some actions. So, yeah, let's you're doing what you're doing right now, watching the video. And it's not a video. I'm sorry, you're joining us live. Hey, that's first step. Baby steps is better than no steps at all. Ricardo says hello, everyone. And Pete Anderson finally made the Flippinar from DFW.
Go ahead and announce the little thing.
If you gonna whisper it, you might as well say it.
No.
Okay, so guys, we're 15 minutes into the show on Thursday, and I want to ask you guys something. What's different? If you can tell me first to respond across all platforms, tell me what's different. You will be the recipient of Ty's ebook. Go.
For free.
So you gotta tell me what's different. Tell me what's different about the show. I'm looking for the answer.
So go ahead.
In the meanwhile, let's see here. Let's see. I have a buyer that wants to do a quit claim deed. Should I be concerned, and how do I get paid?
A buyer wants to do the quit claim?
Buyer.
I have a buyer that wants to do a quit claim deed. Should I be concerned?
I wouldn't care.
So, I mean, are they trying to buy your property and they want you to quit claiming over to them?
Well, you know, I say that the seller still has to want to do that though, but the seller probably, I don't know. What do you think? If a buyer is okay with doing a quit claim, I'm sure the seller, as long as the seller gets their money, probably wouldn't care. What do you think?
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, as long as the money is deposited, I don't see why a seller would mind. I mean, it to me is more of the buyer's problem for purchasing the property without getting title insurance and a clear title. But
I think Julie Miller got it.
Nope.
Yeah, if the buyers, and obviously the seller has to be on board, but if a buyer wants to do a transaction like that, wow, you need to find as many as you can for that cat.
I would still use an attorney though.
Yeah, I still would go through that process.
I would still go to an attorney where they wire the money to the attorney. Quit claim deed is right there. They sign on the quit claim deed the moment. I mean, once the money is wired. Yeah.
What would unless he's using his attorney? Most attorneys are going to highly recommend that warranty deed on doing that transaction. He wouldn't be able to get title insurance. You think? What do you think?
No, not with a quit claim deed.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to go through the process.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, that did not take long at all. Some of y'all's answers were just freaking hilarious. A lot of people said that you were on Zoom now. Is that?
I've been on Zoom.
You've been on Zoom. Okay. Someone said because you had 3 screens. Someone said no goatee. Where have you ever had? Not Chad the goatee. Yeah, he still got it. Maybe they can't see it. But the fit nurse on YouTube said Ty's background.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
she wasn't the only one that said it. She was just the first one that said it. Someone else noticed as well. You mentioned.
The backdrop has changed. It really ain't changed, but it changed. You know what I'm saying?
Man on the backdrop changed, and you added the .net and all that kind of stuff.
So fit nurse, send me. How can I? What's the best way? Because YouTube
ain't. She just said gave me. She just said gave me. So she's live now. Talk to her.
Oh, well, I'm trying to see the best way without getting hammered here. So Fitness, do this for me. Email me at ty@dealyoulater.com. So that's TY, and it's not Todd. I don't know why people think I say that, but it's ty@dealyoulater.com, DALULATOR.com. And I'll figure out a way to figure it was you on your YouTube account or whatever. So we'll go from there.
All right, looks good. They said Adrian is not in the show. That ain't new. I wasn't in it last week either. Mr. Proximity from Chicago, first time logging in this year. Where you been? It's 3-4 weeks in. Man, come on with it. Okay, so back to the questions, guys, and congratulations to the fit nurse. Jay flipped some more houses, says, hey, Ty and or Renikia, I'm from Detroit and been wholesaling for a long time now. I want to move from single family homes to commercial.
Okay.
Steps.
The first thing you got to identify what type of commercial property you want to target, because it's all types: hotel, motels, office, medical office, self-storage, warehousing, apartments, which is multifamily, that's 5 units or more, retail, shopping center to center, single tenant. What am I missing? Vacant commercial land.
Rent house.
I think I've covered it all. So that's the first thing. So once you determine what type of properties or properties that you want to target, then how you evaluate them is going to be a little different. Most commercial properties, the valuation of what you'll value them at is based on either the income that they're producing or what they can potentially produce. You know, it just boils down to gross income minus gross expenses, you know, per month and annually, obviously. And then now you have to look at cap rates and the type of leases that they may hold or whatever. So there are different factors. So you have to determine which type of property you want to target first, you know, before we can, you know, go into that. So.
I was saying, and just add to that is, it's the same as, not really, but it's somewhat of a similar process to residential, but it's a lot more evaluation and understanding that. I mean, just kind of throw some different approaches out there, methods out there, evaluating commercial properties is the income base, approach and the cost approach. And those are two different evaluation methods to evaluate the commercial property. On top of evaluating the commercial property, now you have to go out and make sure you have a pool of commercial buyers as well. And understanding how are you going to sell that property? Are you going to wholesale it? Because if you're going to wholesale it, then there's a possibility that you have a healthy amount of earnest money that you got to put up to the table if you don't have a buyer in place. You know, just putting that in perspective, having the end buyer and things of that nature. So it's a similar process, but it's not doable. It's not doable, but it's definitely a little bit more into evaluating commercial properties and selling commercial properties.
Okay. This is a pretty lengthy question. I already have an answer, but I'm gonna read it anyway because I can answer this one. This is from Shaquana, and she's on Facebook. And I love Crystal's answer to it, but we're going to answer it as well. She says, I've seen where wholesalers are saying they do iPad presentations to show sellers. The presentation breaks down the process and the benefits of doing business with the wholesalers versus real estate agents. The seller will have a full understanding of the process and why it's a great decision to wholesale versus going through a real estate agent. Do you guys believe that that's a good idea to create presentation process for the sellers? I don't know if it's a great idea to be known as a wholesaler and etc. And what do I, essentially she wants to know, what does she call herself, a wholesaler and investor? First of all, no, baby, why would you do that?
Well, that's don't be closed-minded to it.
I'm not closed-minded, but you said
I'm listening. I'm listening to what they're saying. There's nothing. I wouldn't do it that way, but I'm open to what they said. You know, just
why would you do a presentation? What do you say all the time?
Really, you're still selling them. You're still trying to. We're not selling them. You're still trying to negotiate an attractive deal or whatever. So I would like to see the presentation before I can just say no. You know what I'm saying?
I got you on that, but you always say if it's. I'm not gonna say it's difficult for people to learn this process.
Oh no, I'm not going
to explain that.
Well, okay, I get what you're saying now. They're saying, and Renika, you might have picked it up, that they're trying to explain to the seller that they're wholesaling. That's that's the
part I'm saying. Why would you do that?
Yeah, see, I'm not going. Yeah, that ain't nothing I'll probably do. I don't care what the presentation.
It'll be a hard no for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I had to walk myself through. I had to walk myself through it, you know.
Yeah, and the reason being to me is that don't put yourself in the position to competing with the real estate agents. There's no competition. A real estate agent is a real estate agent, and there's always going to be room for a real estate agent. They're governed by laws that the investors not governed by. So that to me is adding more fuel to the fire than need be. I would have just approached it. I'm an investor. I'm a cash buyer, and focus on your presentation as being confident and being a cash buyer and investor. When you walk into that room, I'm an investor, and I want to buy your property, and never really bring up, in my opinion, I don't necessarily bring up that I'm gonna wholesale this deal or whatever the case may be, because as long as I bring that cash and that bottom line that they ask for, they don't really care how the money came, you know. So it'll be a hard no for me with the presentation.
I agree. I had to walk myself through it. God dog, agent.
I know you were just so quick to say no. I mean, that's a really good question, Shaquana. I appreciate the question.
It was a good question.
Everybody asks, what do I tell the seller I am?
Yeah.
You are an investor.
Yeah.
You are a buyer. The rest of that don't matter. You trying to explain something that's
you got to believe your own title. You got to believe your own title.
Yeah.
It's them and you.
Yeah. See, yeah. I think people, they don't look at wholesaling as investing. It is a form of investing. It's a form of investing. They're not just two lanes. If you buy, fix, and flip, or buy, fix, and rent, no, you are doing real estate transactions as an investor, as a wholesaler, as an investor, or whatever. So that's what people get confused with it. I think is more than anything. The main reason I'm not gonna go with it through a seller, it's just like all these people watching this and will watch this in the future. They watch hours of this stuff, Renikia, and still have tons of questions. Imagine trying to explain that to someone in 5 minutes. Most people have never heard of it before.
Exactly.
So I just say this: if I am a seller and I'm savvy, and your presentation is just boss and it's just fly, my very first question is, why do I need you then? Just bring me the buyer. What's your purpose?
Exactly.
You cutting yourself out. I'm gonna
you're putting yourself in position to act like a realtor without the license.
Yeah, that's what you will sound like, and they are similar because you are just matching a buyer and a seller together. But you have enough sense that the laws will allow you to separate yourself from an agent because you've actually entered into the actual transaction once you put a purchase and sales agreement on it. It doesn't, as Renikia said, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. It makes it better because I can go out and get a loan and buy a house from you. That makes it better to you.
Nah, just give my check.
Do you just want the god doggone money? We sit down with attorneys and title companies to close it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just bringing you a briefcase full of money that I'm trying to work to on the hood of your car or whatever. We're sitting down with some of the same title companies and attorneys that agents sit down. I'm not competing with an agent because what an agent is going to probably want to list your property for and what I'm willing to buy it for, there's no reason to even bring up an agent because we're going to be way off. Because an agent is trying to get as much as they can, and the only way to do that, you're going to sell that property for as much as you think the market will bear. And they base that off, data, of course. So I'm trying to get it for as less as possible.
Right.
So there's no reason to bring up an agent.
You want to bring that up, right?
We're not even it's just like I tried to explain to somebody with the agent and wholesaler, a lake and an ocean, both the body of waters, we agree, right? But they're totally different.
Oh, gosh.
Right.
Okay.
And in most cases in real estate, less is more. The more you talk, in some cases, the more you talking your way out of a deal. Like seriously, I done seen it. Less is more. In a lot of cases.
Good question though, Shaquana. You brought up
good question.
it
is. That's a great question.
Answer with that. I mean, that answers quite a few questions on there. What do I say? What do I say when I get there? What do I call myself? Should I explain it?
You are a cash buyer. Doesn't mean
you're a cash buyer.
Yeah, that's what you are.
Yeah.
Because trying to explain real estate and that you're better than a real estate agent, most sellers gonna go with a real estate agent because the laws and the fact that they're governed and that's what people want. They want to deal with something that is governed by laws. Investors are not. So it's to them, it's a safer situation to work with a real estate agent. So don't bring that up. You don't even want to bring that option up in your conversation to make them think that that's an option that they can take right now.
You know what? It kind of make like a used car. Some people like buying used cars from big dealerships versus going to the buy here, play here. I ain't get no car for no buy here, play here, place.
Right.
They just doing that right
And
there.
it could be the same car.
But would you rather go?
I like to think I ain't no buy here, pay here.
Exactly. You want to go to the big boys and pay big dollars. It's
right, and they offering the same thing across the street. It's just
right.
stuff. You think
Yeah, right,
that's
good.
mom and pop?
Good analogy.
It's not good enough.
It is. You're right.
Cleavon, I love his name. When using your one-page contract, how do you use it as an assignment contract, and how do you use it as a double contract?
Well, I think people get confused when you say assignment contract versus a purchase and sales agreement. Now, they are the same. Well, no, they're not. No, they're not. A purchase and sales agreement is just what it says. It is an agreement that says I'm going to purchase a piece of real estate. An assignment contract is just what it says. It's an actual contract saying I'm going to assign an existing contract that I have over to a buyer, right? So, but the way I use, and I think Renika does the same thing, we don't use an actual assignment of contract. We use two purchase and sales agreements, and we get the difference of those two contracts via an assignment fee, but not per se a assignment of contract, so, and that gets confusing to some people. See, it's all handled at, the contracts are only used to initiate the actual deal, the real paperwork, which is the seller conveying their interest over to an actual buyer who's produced the funds to execute a transaction. Don't get caught up. Now, I have had title companies that may be on purchase experience of them doing an assignment or whatever, and I'll have the two purchase and sales agreements in place, and they'll want me to sign an assignment agreement at the actual closing table just for their records or whatever. They're being comfortable. I've had that to happen. But and I guess it's really confusing. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, Renika, but they get confused. I get this questions on, comments on YouTube or whatever, and Instagram, that they get confused with, say, well, I got your purchase and sales agreement, the one that I give away. Can I get the assignment agreement? I said, you're not watching my videos. Because I explain over and over again that you have contract A with the seller. You have, I guess you could say, contract B with the buyer at a higher price, and you just get the difference, but you're paid via an assignment fee. Now, sometimes people are double closed, but we're talking about assignments here. So maybe you can explain it a little better than I explained it.
No, I mean, that was good. I would explain it this exact same way. To me, the purchase and sales agreement is the detail of the purchase and the house. The assignment agreement is almost like, this is how much I'm about to make on your property. This is exactly what it is. It's like, it details how much you're about to make on this property, and it's loud. So if you're about to make $20,000, you got to write that $20,000 in there to show the seller that, or the buyer, that I'm about to make $20,000 off your money, or show the seller that you're about to make $20,000 off their house without putting up $1. And to me, it's just two in your face, So just try to disguise those two by putting in place two purchase and sales agreement, which allows you to assign your contract to a third party. But it's either one works. Either one works.
Both work.
Both. Agreement is just, it details how much you're about to make, and the buyer or the seller or whoever you're dealing with have to sign off on that. And it just raised more questions than anything, I think.
Yeah, like you say, both work. It just I was taught that way, and that's the way I teach it or whatever. It's always made more sense to me to just do two purchase and sales agreement. Now, I've heard people say this, Renika. I've never had no one to want to do this for me, but I've had people to say that the buyer paid them their assignment fee before they even closed.
Oh wow.
I've never had that. That's beautiful.
No, I never had that.
I've never had that to happen before. Now I've had buyers to put a significant amount of earnest money in my hand or whatever, but I've never had a buyer to. That's
weird, because what if there's a cloud on the title and you don't take possession?
That's what I say. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even if someone did, like, it's just like, whenever they give me which it doesn't happen that often, but whenever a buyer gives me a significant amount of earnest money, I don't even spend it. You know what I'm saying? Because we had to even pull a title or anything.
Right.
The worst thing, you know, I probably got it or whatever, but if I didn't have it, this one I'm advising you. Unless you can replace that bread, don't spend earnest money if it's put in your hand.
I'm taking it a step farther than that. I'd rather put my money in the hands of an attorney than the buyer or the seller, because if anything go wrong and now you got to chase somebody down for your money.
Yep.
It's too much for me. It's a lot of energy. Versus just pulling up to the attorney and requesting your money. But.
Okay, so I want to take Irvin Thomas. He's on YouTube. And hey, Guy Mark from New York. This is first time joining us. Most definitely welcome. Irvin Thomas is kind of is it a deal? But I want to try to maybe get you guys to explain why his buyer may or may not have wanted this property. So he has a property where the comps range from 175 to 215. Okay. He's gotten it from the seller for 77.
Okay.
He says the repair is 30 to 40. So we go with the high end. That's 40.
I'm going with 40. Yeah.
Okay. He said he was trying to wholesale it for 98.
Okay. Well, with those numbers, I went with 175. I didn't go with 200,000 as the ARV. I came up with 82.5, right? And so, and what he got on the contract for?
77.
Okay, so 98. Well, we gotta. Well, these numbers ain't hard numbers here. It's just like I said, they always just ballpark stuff.
Well, let me add the last part. He had a buyer that only wanted to give him 70. So the deal is dead. Anyway,
well, yeah. What that buyer it is, you got to buy another buyer. Maybe want to pay a little more, but with that buyer, he didn't want to pay.
Okay. But using, just say this.
Well, first thing I'm gonna try to get that buyer back up to 80. If I can make a quick 5,000, he can close in a week. I'll roll with that. Return on investment on that. So that's the first thing I'll do. I try to get that buyer up to 80, maybe 85. That may have just been his first offer. He may have paid more. Assuming he did, you roll on to somewhere. The numbers seem to work. What do you think, Nikki?
I think at with the ARV of 200,000, that 98 will work. But that depends on how solid that 200,000 is, because your range is from 175 to 215, and that's nice. That's a $50,000 range. So is it 175 or closer to 175, or is it 200? But it will somewhat work if the ARV is 200. But at the same time, I think I will lower it up just a little bit to make it more attractive to the investor. Okay. Because how solid are you regarding is being 40,000? That investor will probably be looking at 50,000 in rehab, So, but don't lose a good buyer trying to maximize your fee. It's a numbers game. Take that 5 or 6, 7,000 and keep moving. It's a numbers game. If you don't feel as confident that another buyer will come.
All right, we're going to do a couple more. Is it a deal? Just for those trying to figure out how to work the ARV formula. Teddy Bear has a property that he's locked in at 50,000. The ARV is 110 with 20,000 in rehab. So would that be possibility?
That's tight. 50, 20.
You got about $7 grand there. It's 50. Come down to 57. It's a little tight. You can make a few coins out of it, maybe.
Right. Well, that could work.
Yeah, you might get somebody to pay you 60. 10 grand. That would be a good. Ain't nothing to sneeze at. Nothing.
All right. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated, I guess, because it takes 3 posts for me to read it. Let's see here, Nadia. So I have this potential deal where the property ARV is around 340K. The owner wants 120.
Oh.
There's a development in the area, and new homes are starting in the 400s and 500s.
Go ahead.
However, according to the owner and local contractors, the house would be better off being demolished in a brand new construction to get the full value of the area and considering the amount of work it needs. Could this property still be wholesaled or should I just move on? You didn't tell us how much work it needed, Nadia.
No.
So we don't have a repair value. If it as is, how much would it take to get it to either the 340 or to the 400, 500 that the new houses are coming?
Well, it's at 238. 70% of 340 is 238, and she added on the country for 125.
120.
120. Well, you can do
It
a lot.
works. If the rehab is less than 100,000 or around 100,000, it will work.
Yeah. That's a lot of rehab. I don't know what the square footage of it is, but hey, sounds like you could walk away with 30 or 40 big ones. Sound like it.
Okay.
Well, she got in the contract at 125.
Yeah, I'm wrong then. No, that's about
If
it.
she need, if they, it's kind of tight. I mean, it really depends on how much that rehab is.
Yeah, really, yeah. Sounds lovely though.
But you got a good little, you can make that work. You can totally make that work.
Yeah.
Okay, so every week we have questions about the pre-foreclosures and foreclosures, the super secret houses on the market that nobody knows about, that nobody has access to but our subscribers. Okay, first question in regards to that is, I'm gonna say maybe Tommy Holt, can't really say it, but I have a couple of cash buyers here in California willing to buy foreclosures, but we cannot approach the owners' homes. What would be my best approach of contacting these owners?
What do you mean? You walk up to
What
them?
law is that? Y'all got a special law out there?
I don't know. Tommy, why can't you approach the owner? How else are you supposed to get?
We have to be clear on what he means by approach the owner. Do you mean you can't call or mail, or do you mean knock it on the door? You know, that's going to be or all three or one, you know, whatever the combination of that is. You know, you
can't send a mail? You can't send a letter?
Okay, so explain that. Let's see here. Next question in regards to the super secret foreclosures is going to be, how do you work a pre-foreclosure deal with a buyer? I think once you cover that, that might answer quite a few questions.
Pre-foreclosure?
Yes.
You will have to probably have to double close it, and it really depends on where they are in this pre-foreclosure process. It's probably going to be hard, but I would say you're going to need to double close it so it doesn't, because a lot of times when it's in pre-foreclosure, the lender have to sign off on those HUDs, and usually lenders don't sign off on a HUD that has an assignment fee on it. So your approach is probably going to be a double closing. And it still depends on where they are in that pre-foreclosure process.
All right. Well, there you have it. Ethel Foreman, we're all still here learning. This is a never-ending process. You can learn something new every day. Ty, would you admit that you learn something new every day, or
I try. I get somebody posted was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. A lady posted on a comment on one of my YouTube videos, and she was asking me about the numbers on, I don't even know what it was, the numbers on the property or whatever. What was she asking me? I forget what it was, but she mentioned how she found it through a Facebook ad or whatever. So I answered a question and I was like, was that an ad or a post? She said it was an actual paid. I said it was a paid ad or a post. She said it was a paid ad. So I told her to reach out to me because I wanted to know what she did. Look, I'm trying to figure out that monster or whatever. Wow. So told me what she did. So I'm answering your question today. Yeah, I'm trying to learn stuff. I don't know everything. Don't even come close. Right. You know, you could probably see in my expression when people mention stuff that I don't do or been trying to do and they're succeeding at, I want to know. Hey, so if anybody out there has mastered this on Facebook, generating leads,
all right,
call me. 205-492-3425.
Oh, there you go. In regards to the gentleman that was in California, he says we cannot contact the residents here in California due to the laws. You cannot door knock. So that doesn't mean you can't call or send the letter.
Yeah.
Call them and send a letter.
Yeah. We
I mean, you know, a lot. You do a lot of door knocking. I mean, so you do door knocking?
I do door knocking. Who does?
Oh no, I talk to people all the time, say they do it.
That's gay.
So but I tell them, I say, hey, I respect.
Sometimes you do. You can't find an owner. You may just want to walk up. But.
Yeah, I say I respect it because the first person that got rude with me, I'm ready to go crawl in the back seat of my truck, just call my mama, ask his life.
That hurt your feelings.
Am I living my best life, as they say?
That makes you feel small.
Hey, but anyway, so yeah, you that gator, but normally what I tell people, Renika, is that if you're that gator, you can really actually use a better use of your time instead of door knocking, you know, because you can just get on the phone and just start hammering. Because you door knock the phone, make a phone call, won't be nothing for you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That'll be the better use of your time, is to buy a list, you know, and start calling people or whatever. So
do the skip tracing method instead. You know, try that instead. That's basically finding the house that you want to approach, going into the tax records, getting the name of the owner, skip tracing the name of the owner, pretty much exactly what bill collectors do, the same systems that bill collector and people like that have, where they somewhat find you out the blue. Skip trace the owner and just call them. And a lot of times you can get these people on the phone, and it really depends on your skip tracing service. You pay for what you get, but the higher you pay, the more accurate that information is. So.
Okay. Tyree, Don, not sure, but Tyree says he has a distressed property on Zillow with all drywall removed, and it's for sale for $239K. It's a foreclosure. Nearby is selling for $450 to $537. Is it a deal? What information is missing there?
Okay, before we answer that, let me go over how to subscribe again. A lot of you all are having trouble getting notified whenever we go live on the Flippinars and whenever I upload new videos. So it just boils down to people don't know how to set up their whenever they subscribe to the channel. So this is just a quick tutorial on how to do that. Obviously, you're going to hit subscribe. Once you hit subscribe, you hit the bell there, but you have to go in and select all so you can get anytime videos are uploaded if we go live here on YouTube, and then you hit save and boom, you're in. So just make sure you do that on the channel. So back to, you said it was $239.
Yes.
And it's in, what was the ARV thought it was?
Oh, $450 to $537. That's just so woo.
$450 to $537.
Yes.
You don't have enough data. You got too much data. You got to condense. You got to condense that to. You got to narrow it down to closer to that property, and you could do it on Zillow. All you have to do is just go into the heat map on recently sold properties near that property, and you just need to shrink it down to closest to that property as possible. Hopefully, there are a lot of comparable sales there, because see, what you have to understand is that everybody's looking on Zillow, from agents to investors, whoever, right? And if there's a property, I guess the question would be to ask him, how many days has it been on the market on Zillow? All right. So if it's on Zillow and it's still there, it's been there for, I don't know how long. See, on the surface, you look like you have $200,000 there to work with, right?
Yeah.
Something is missing in that equation there. It's just not going to last. It wouldn't last a day. If it had a legitimate $200,000 on a property like that, it wouldn't last a day.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. I know we would love to be able to just reach up and pull that apple down and just start eating it.
We got
what they call that, low-hanging fruit. I know we would just love to be able to do that, Ridiculous. When you just be able to
absolutely
just pull $20,000 and just put it in your Louis
Absolutely. I wish it was that easy. Absolutely.
Guys, it's just not that simple as the apple. You got to grow the damn tree.
Right. You gotta plant the seed. You got to water that thing. You have to, exactly.
Wow.
Not that easy.
Why not the Louis?
But if you plant and you water, it will grow.
That's right.
You water, it will grow.
Seeds, man. That's marketing. It's called marketing yourself to generate leads. We're being silly here, but that's what we're talking about. We would love to be able to just pull a 239 property down from Zillow that's worth 450.
Right.
I'm not saying it's impossible. It happens, but normally it just doesn't work that way. You know, it just doesn't work that. You can't find deals that way. Just a lot of things got to go in your favor to do it that way. You know, so.
Gotcha. Renikia, I'm going to throw about 10 questions at you. Not really. I'm going to narrow it down. So the people see you, they haven't seen you, they want to hear from you, they want to know what you do, where you been, what's up. That ain't none of the business.
Absolutely.
You can help them get some money. So they want to know. Let's see here. Renikia, do you offer one-on-one coaching? Renikia, does fundmynextdeal.com do transactional funding? Renikia.
Hold on, let's get two of them first.
No, I'm gonna.
She ain't gonna remember all of them.
Wait a minute.
Just do the first two, and then we'll do.
She got this.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody wanted to know about gap funding. Somebody wanted to know about their credit, and someone also wants to know how and when your mixtape is gonna drop, because your background look like you just dropped a mixtape.
Oh, me?
Who, Tom?
That was for you.
I know you're gonna answer that last.
Don't answer that
one. Yeah, Ty, you probably was right now. And what was the first two?
Wait a minute now. Okay, so transactional funding. Someone wanted to know about coaching.
The one-on-one coaching. No, I don't know. I'm not offering one-on-one coaching. That's very time consuming. And I don't think it's enough money. And it's a price, but it's very time consuming. So I would rather do group coaching than one-on-one. But once you do take advantage of any of my services, you kind of get me somewhat one-on-one because I help you put that financial plan in place and providing the resources and the funding that you need to kind of build that plan that you have. So you can kind of get me one-on-one by default. Do that. As far as transactional funding, yes, we do provide that if you need that. However, I will exhaust the most cost-effective way before I go to transactional funding, which is just trying to do a double closing. It'll be a lot cheaper to do it that way, but if you really need it, yes, that service is there. But as far as gap funding, what we do, pretty much call it the investor down payment assistant. What people don't realize, yes, we do teach how to buy and sell real estate with absolutely no money, a little to any money, but it takes money to make money at the same time. Even putting money behind your marketing, you kind of need some money to put into your marketing, just a little bit. It doesn't take much, but $100 is still money. So being able to invest back into yourself and leveraging your credit. So we have a program that I call the Gap Funding Program, which is our down payment assistance program that help you leverage your credit to receive up to $150,000 of unsecured credit. So you can have the money that you need to market, put into your marketing, as well as if you want to do a fix and flip, you need that 10 or that 20% down payment, but you don't quite have it. We help you find it by leveraging your credit and building the resources that you need. Sometimes you would never be able to really save your way to wealth. I mean, life happens, things happen. You want to gravitate towards the power of OPM, which is using other people's money. I'd rather take a risk with your money than my money, and that's how I really think. I'd rather take the risk with the bank's money than put my money up. And that's how we want to kind of start thinking as a people, is that we want to use our credit for investment opportunities, for opportunities that actually pay for itself, versus using your credit for things that you have to pay for and then you go farther into the debt. So, so that's our gap funding program. And if you want to get started with that, you go to fundmynextdeal.com and just follow those steps from there. I think I hit all questions.
You did.
Good. All right, guys. I hope you heard it. She answered all of those questions, boiled down into one. We just got to set it to music next time, and we're gonna sell that mixtape.
I may have a mistake for you. Rub my hands like bird.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Sassy Classy wants to know. I think you're Angela too, huh? Okay, so if you're doing a 2 purchase and sell in agreements, are you paying double closing costs?
Oh, you're
Not really.
yeah, they're really still confusing because you're using 2 contracts. They just can't get out of their mind that you're not. They think you're doing 2 transactions. No, you're just getting the difference between the 2 contracts with the seller and the buyer via an assignment fee. So you're only paying 1 closing cost. Now, if you are performing a double close, depending on the title company or attorney you use, sometimes they'll charge you for it or they'll discount, especially if you're doing a lot of deals with them. A lot of times they don't just want to even charge you for it anyway, or because you're a volume play for them. So don't confuse the 2 contracts with automatically being a double close. The way Renika and I do it, we just use it as an interest, those 2 documents to perform an actual assignment transaction. And it just makes it easy. Like Renika said earlier, we're not giving a buyer a chance to knowingly negotiate our assignment fee. He's negotiating it, but he doesn't know what we have it on the contract with the seller.
Right.
He will know, he can know if he wants to at some point. He can always go back and look at the transaction, but it's just a way of just making sure that we're maximizing our assignment fee.
Right. And I like the way you said that, because and you're totally right. And that's really the main reason I use purchase and sales agreement instead of assignment, because people do count your pockets. That's just what it is. And when you get to the closing table and the seller see that you're making more money than he's making, he has the opportunity to back out of that. So you want to less is more situation. Is just less is more. The less you less they know, the less that they know. So to be able to just disguise that assignment fee is just for your benefit. So no one is counting your pockets, because they can get to the table and say, no, in order for us to close it, you got to move your assignment fee from $10,000 to $5,000. So now they're counting your pockets and things of that nature. So you just want to disguise that. But I will definitely say, when it comes to closing costs, it's all about how you what you put into the contract. Most of the times, everyone pay their own closing costs. So the seller is paying his closing costs, and the buyer on the second transaction is paying their closing costs. And what you want to do is negotiate with your attorney that, hey, I know this is a double closing, but you're not pulling 2 titles. We're not paying for 2 insurance policies and things of that nature. So they should be able to give you 1 flat fee instead of charging for 2 closings. But you want to negotiate that in advance as well with your attorney.
Mark Carey wanted to know, just still talking about a true double closing, why some title companies don't like doing them. What would be the reason? Just preference? Yeah,
just preference. Some won't do a wholesale transaction at all. That's just going to be their preference. But that's the great thing about it. I might not like Big Macs.
Right.
But Burger King sell what they sell. So, that's the options, competition. That's one of the great things about, the capitalistic society that we live in. You got options.
And still talking about closing, I can't say your name. Mr. on YouTube.
What's his name?
I can't say it. How do you guarantee the buyer or seller arrive to the closing date without your time being wasted? You can't. There is no
What was the question?
How can you guarantee that a seller and a buyer are going to show up to closing?
Oh, you can't. You can't.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I know you guys want to have it just every question answered, but the incentive for them to show up is that the seller is going to get money and the buyer is about to launch making money. And if that's not enough incentive for them to show up, I don't know. You know, because normally, you know, there's things that are happening before the closing happen, mainly on the buyer side. You know, they put up earnest money, so they are in risk of losing that money. Now, sometimes it happens, you know, or whatever, but you know, those you just deal with it. I don't really have an answer for you. If that ever happens, you just have to deal with it. Try to fix the problem on either side of it.
Right. And I would just say that you want to, no one has to show up to closing, but at the same time, if you have if you have a doubt that your buyer is going to show up, or you don't feel comfortable with this particular buyer, just ask for more earnest money. A lot of times people will walk away from $100. They'll walk away from maybe 500, but they may not walk away from 5,000 or 10,000. I'm not saying that people are willing out here putting up 5,000 or 10,000, but the more honest money on the table, a lot of times your buyer most likely won't walk away. So that could be a tactic. And understand that there's a lot of things in this business that is unpredictable. You cannot prepare for the unpredictable, but you could somewhat prepare for situations like that and just ask for a higher earnest money, and you know, whatever the case may be, you know, to try to protect yourself in that situation.
All right. So Tony, I see you on both platforms. Wants to know, how do you find a serious buyer for a $1.4 million deal for over 30 houses? So I guess we're talking about a portfolio here. How do I present it to potential buyers without sending them the entire list to keep them from trying to steal the deal?
Well, first, just ask yourself, would you buy a $1.4 million deal without being able to know all the information as possible? You got to have it locked up. That's the purpose of the contract. You know, there's no way you're going to be able to do this without buyers being able to evaluate every single. That's a serious impact. Just ask yourself, would you purchase without being able to evaluate? And that starts with the addresses and whatever other information they need to be able to evaluate that opportunity. You know, now just because someone wants to sell 30 properties for 1.4 million, it first boils down to, is it an actual great deal? You know, that's why there's plenty of people want to sell stuff. Is it a deal? That's the first thing. And then obviously you lock it up on the contract and you move forward trying to find a buyer.
And I actually get this a lot, especially, you know, trying to sell commercial properties. You have these, I don't know, these wholesalers or these people that has these commercial properties, and then they send you, you know, short details on them. And when you have 150 unit complex and you want me to put a letter of intent or a purchase agreement up, and you cannot provide me any other financials, you know, or are you hiding something because you don't want someone to go around you? There's some place in this, you're going to lose money either way if you don't present the information. No one is going to move forward with that anyway. So there's a 50% chance of, are you making money by just presenting this deal, regardless of, you know, whatever the situation is. Like, I see so many people, we can never do a deal because they don't really have their side locked up. So they don't really want to present all the information. But they want you to put up a purchase agreement or something of that nature. But who's going to take the time out to put up an agreement for something that they don't even know is really worth it? So you got to take all of that in consideration, you know. And how do you find a buyer like that? You know, you're looking for a high net worth buyer. You're not looking for that mom and pop buyer that buy that $70,000 house. You're looking for a high net worth buyer. That's the same buyer that will probably buy a complex. Same buyer that will probably buy, you know, a shopping center, start or build a subdivision. Where do you find those buyers?
You can start That's a good question. You can start with commercial brokers. Whereas I don't like to tap into residential agents on buyers, because I think I could produce them through a couple of different methods. But with commercial real estate, commercial brokers is going to be your source. They control it. But the difference in the commercial broker and most just regular residential agents, not all, but most, all commercial brokers are investor minded, because they're dealing with nothing but investors. Whereas most real estate agents, they're dealing with just regular people that are just looking for somewhere to live, to put their family. So everybody on the commercial side, generally speaking, are investor minded. So they're used to creative ways of deals going down or whatever. So you start with commercial brokers, but you got to have your ducks in a row, but they ain't gonna waste time with you. You better have your ducks in a row. You gotta know what you're doing. That's thing I can tell you on that. But that's your source on, because they want to get paid. And if you reach out to them directly, you give them an opportunity to double dip on their commission.
You've been asked this before, Ty, and I don't think you ever got around to it. 3Bean, Ralph Murphy from 3Bean wants to know, do you have any videos on the wholesale lingo, the verbiage, ARV, EMD, etc.?
Well, we talked about doing a video on that, but I hadn't done it. So to answer the question, I just hadn't done it yet.
So that's a no.
Yeah, that's a no.
All right. Equitable Interest says he has a closing being held up because the mortgage was never released. The issue is my title company is having trouble finding the lender. It appears they have closed their doors. Any advice?
Wow.
What, the lender?
Yeah.
That mortgage went somewhere.
It's somewhere. Gotta find it.
You're just gonna have to track it. I've had to do that before. It went somewhere. You're just gonna have to track it down to get a payoff.
Who are they still paying the mortgage? Who they're paying the mortgage to?
Yeah, if they're still paying the mortgage to somebody.
All right.
Money going somewhere.
Yeah, going somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they still paying the mortgage. They got a statement. Yeah, look on that statement. See who they're paying that mortgage to.
Can you use the money liquidated from your business line of credit to purchase tax deeds?
Use what?
Money liquidated from your business line of credit to purchase tax deeds.
Absolutely. The only thing, if you take the money off the car and now it's cash, you take either turn the cash into a money order and take it down to the courthouse and purchase your deeds. Now the thing about it is that it kind of depends on your state. You may have to hold on to it for a year and a day or something of that nature. So you want to know how long you're going to have to hold that before you can flip it out, because you're going to have to manage that debt until you're able to do whatever it is that you put as your exit strategy. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Okay. In wholesaling, what part does equity play in on the deal? Everything.
Yeah, equity is everything. That's where your money at. That's it. The definition of equity, I guess, straight definition would be, what is it worth, what's owed on it, and the difference.
Right.
If there's nothing owed on it, so it's 100% equity. If there's on $100,000 ARV, I'm assuming, and I guess that's the way we're looking at it as far as the wholesale. If there's $20,000 owed on it, then there's 80% equity there. If there's $90,000 owed on it on $100,000 ARV, that's $10,000. That's where the money is. That's why you have the formulas and all that stuff. It's trying to determine how much equity, quote unquote, profit is available to be made.
Yeah. All right. The equity is what makes or break the deal.
All right, Ty, before we go any further, can you show our subscribers, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram is down, how to get notifications of when you post new videos and or when the show is about to start? I know a lot of you guys just hit subscribe, but you can't stop there. You won't get notifications if you look at your screen now, if you're on YouTube, and look on YouTube, Facebook. Ty, what you doing?
Yeah, so real quick, hit subscribe, hit the bell. You have to go there in the next window that comes up, hit all, and then save. Boom, you should start receiving the notifications when we go live and when we upload new videos. So if you already subscribed, you need to go there and check to make sure that that option is selected where you're receiving all of the new content that pops up. So with that being said, we're going to end this week's Flippinar. We are over an hour and some change. We appreciate Renikia joining us. This is the second time this year, or the first time? Second time. We did second time.
We did the first week. We did the first week.
Okay. All right. That's right. So we're glad to have her back. Glad to have AP. So anybody got anything else they want to add?
Go grab that low hanging fruit.
Absolutely. Go get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right. So we'll see you guys next week.